Coming up on Around San Diego, a $50 million claim filed against the city of San Diego after a woman was found dead inside of her car at a tow yard. And parking meters could soon be going up in parking lots around Balboa Park and Mission Bay. Plus, a couple shares their heartbreaking story after they say they were scammed by a pet cremation services company. Around San Diego starts now. Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us as we take you around San Diego. I'm CBS 8's Jenny Day. We have a fast-paced recap of the week's top stories, and we'll look ahead at what's to come. We do begin with that $50 million claim filed against the city of San Diego by the family of a woman who was found dead inside of her vehicle at an impound lot. The 65-year-old woman was sleeping in her parked van in Claremont when a drunk driver hit her vehicle. As CBS 8's David Godfredson reports, the woman's body was not found until a month later when a towing company employee noticed a smell coming from that car.
The last place you would think to look for a missing person was inside of a car.
This tow yard lot in Grantville is where they found the body of 65-year-old Monica Cameroni de Adams in December of 2023. More than a month after a drunk driver plowed into her parked van on the side of the road in Claremont.
A worker at the tow yard reported a pungent smell coming from the car, and that turned out to be Monica.
Attorney John Carpenter is now representing the victim's family, filing a $50 million claim against the city of San Diego for failing to find the woman inside the van at the scene of the collision before towing the vehicle away.
The death was approximately caused by leaving her alone, struggling with her injuries inside of her car, entombing her in her car, taking her car to the tow yard and leaving her there to die.
The drunk driver, Jordan Lopez, was arrested at the scene with a blood alcohol level of 0.26, more than 3 times the legal limit. Court records show he initially was charged with vehicular manslaughter, but later pleaded guilty in a plea deal to DUI causing great bodily injury. An autopsy showed the victim died from blunt force trauma injuries. She was homeless and had been sleeping in her parked van at the time of the collision.
Just because someone is homeless doesn't mean that they don't have a family that loves them. Things are difficult. It's easy to overlook people that are homeless, but they do have loving families and they do matter. And this story exemplifies that.
The city of San Diego did not respond to our request for comment and also has not responded to the family's claim, meaning a lawsuit likely will be filed in the near future. That DUI driver is set to be sentenced in court next week. Under the terms of a plea deal, he faces a maximum of 6 years in prison. In Grantville, David Godfredson, CBS 8.
David, thank you. Well, now to new video of the arrest in an alleged Lyft driver kidnapping. It ended in the parking lot of a marijuana dispensary in Lemon Grove, but it started with a text to 911. The sheriff's department says it was the female Lyft driver saying she was being held against her will by a passenger she picked up in Spring Valley. Deputies say the passenger, 21-year-old Shane Capizio, told the driver he had a gun and ordered her to drive to the dispensary. That's where deputies detained him. The dispensary's owner saw the incident through surveillance video.
She was a little, it's a little bit shocking for anybody, especially a Lyft driver. It's an everyday job for anybody, so definitely a shock.
Yeah, no doubt. Authorities say Capizio did not have a gun. He still faces multiple charges, including kidnapping, robbery, and false imprisonment. Well, a discussion about eliminating dozens of jobs in the Grossmont Union High School district lasted late into the night this week. Many people showed up at the governing board meeting to speak out about a plan to close the $2.4 million deficit for next year. Last month, the board approved resolutions to notify employees whose positions could be eliminated. This includes 49 certificated jobs and about 12 classified positions.
What we've heard is we are being eliminated. Of course, they could always rescind that, and that's what this is all about. We're hoping that they see the outrage. The public, our staff, students, the parents, everyone supporting.
I understand that not everyone agrees with these recommendations. However, we are making these decisions with the long-term best interest of our students and families in mind.
Yeah, we will definitely keep you posted. A lot of interest there. Final decisions are expected by May 15th. Well, will you have to pay for parking at Balboa Park and Mission Bay? The city of San Diego is moving forward with those plans. Officials say the goal is to improve traffic flow, increase parking turnover, and encourage alternative transportation. No fees have been set, but they may vary by location. CBS 8 asked San Diegans how they feel about the potential payments.
Another bill to pay when you come up here, so.
I think it may discourage some people from being able to access the park as easily. Parking's always a challenge on certain days already.
I will still have come here, but I think less often.
So yeah, officials say revenue would go back into the parks. Park and community stakeholders will decide on details, and then the city will draft a proposal for city council approval. Well, new roundabouts are coming to Carlsbad's Barrio neighborhood. 5 intersections will be turned into roundabouts. The goal is to increase public safety and slow down speeding drivers.
Be good because it'll slow stuff down. And we have a lot of dogs that walk through here, a lot of kids that play through here.
Yeah, so some residents say they would prefer a 4-way stop instead. The project will start next year and begin with underground utility reconstruction. Then construction will last about 1 year. The city received $4 million in federal funding for the project. Well, an open house was held Thursday for a rundown home in Ocean View Hills that had become a major problem for neighbors. We have been working for you on this story for years, and the home is finally now up for sale after years of court battles. The real estate agent who asked we not identify her for safety reasons listed this property on Mariner Drive for just under $600,000. She says the amount of interest is high despite the home being filled with a big mess, garbage, and city crews have said previously they've spotted rats and animal feces.
Have you been inside?
I have.
Describe.
I can't get into too much detail about it, but you've seen the pictures on the MLS. You know, there's a lot of stuff in there, and you know, it just needs a lot of work.
Yeah, someone will buy it. The owner of this home, Lisa Golden, received multiple warnings from the court to clean up her property. A judge granted a court-appointed receiver's request to sell the home now. Golden has been ordered to stay away, but was actually spotted driving by that open house. Well, a San Diego couple reached out to us saying they feel like they've been scammed. They tell us they paid for their pet to be cremated, but never received the ashes. CBS 8's Brian White talked with the couple, and he's working for you to get answers.
She was our baby. She wasn't a dog. She wasn't a pet. She was part of our family.
Still reeling from the loss of their beloved Sydney, David and Evelyn Posner are now facing more unimaginable grief on top of that.
She didn't deserve this. I don't think they have her ashes. I'm scared they've thrown her away like garbage.
Sydney was a Chihuahua mix, nearly 15 years old. She had a sweet tooth for Cheerios. She gave David, who suffers from Parkinson's, comfort when he needed it most.
If he was nervous about something or shaking a lot, he'd have his hand down. She'd go underneath his hand, and he'd pet her head.
Sadly, she passed away on New Year's Day, so they called Rainbow to Heaven, a company based in Los Angeles, and paid over the phone for cremation services. Someone came to pick Sydney up within 3 hours.
My earn is $80, and a bank surcharge came to $849.67.
Evelyn says they told her she'd have Sydney's ashes delivered within 2 to 4 weeks at most. That was 10 weeks ago.
I want my baby right there. That's what I want. I don't want my money back. I want my baby. My baby.
She says it's hard to get a hold of anyone, but if you do, you can't get a straight answer.
Sorry, the mailbox is full and there is not enough space to leave a message.
So I called several numbers and couldn't get anyone either.
The Google subscriber you have called is not available.
Turns out they have an F rating with the Better Business Bureau, and after a quick scan of Yelp reviews, I found many other people have had the same experience. Yasendi T said, quote, heartbreaking and frustrating experience. Still no ashes after 5 months. And Craig N posted, quote, I feel like I'm never going to get him back, and I will never be able to grieve in peace. Meanwhile, Sydney's name tag sits on their coffee table as they slowly lose hope that they'll ever see her ashes.
Now I don't have her. And we don't have anything, not even her ashes.
I left several messages for the company. We're going to stay on top of this story. Working for you, Brian White, CBS 8.
And Brian did do some more research and found other customers who were impacted by Rainbow to Heaven and more about the business. You can watch that on our website, cbs8.com. Well, coming up, it's a kind of cafe you've probably never heard of. We'll take you to the Pug Cafe next. Well, the San Diego Zoo is celebrating the arrival of its newest resident. This is our first look at the sloth pup who was just born. The mom, Zena, is 12 years old and expected to spend a lot of time with her new baby. Zoo officials tell us sloth moms are in tune with the needs of their young, especially babies. The newborn also has 2 older siblings. This is the first sloth pup born at the San Diego Zoo since 2022. Doing it slowly. Well, you've probably heard about cat cafes where customers sip coffee while petting cats, but what about that same concept with pugs? I like it. As we take you in the Zevely Zone, Jeff visits Cuppa Pug in Escondido.
If you think the bright pink Cuppa Pug building is unforgettable, just wait until you see what happens when they release the hounds.
A lot of our dogs like to wiggle around.
Unsuspecting customers have no idea what's about to be unleashed. It's a pug party that runs wild for 50 minutes. So you might as well submit to the slaughter. Wow! Surprise attack! Pugs love to play and pounce.
All of them coming out is just so exciting. I feel so good, happy now.
Hold the boat. Andrea Lewis signed up to pass out puppuccinos. What is happening over here?
I'm being attacked and I love it. they're so cute. You want one? She's learned the secret.
Cheryl Lambert is the manager of Cuppa Pug and still can't believe they pay her for this.
You don't get up in the morning and go, oh, I gotta go to work. You're like, I get to go to work and have a blast.
Cheryl told me pugs were bred to provide companionship for Chinese emperors.
In my mind, they're not dogs because each one is goofy, they're funny, they do different things every day that just make you laugh.
And just when you think the excitement is dying down, it's time for the Pug Ball Pit. The concept of Pug Palooza started in England, where Matthew Petersey and Aaron Carty own 2 pug cafes.
I'm obsessed with pugs. I have 10 my own, and they're all in London.
Last fall, the couple opened this spot in California, and another one is on the way in Texas. In your dreams, how many Cuppa Pugs do you open?
Oh, I don't know. As many as we can, What we love about each Cuppa Pug is that we partner with a charity.
And we need to tell you about their BYOP promo. Bring your own pug, and it's 50% off. Admission is $30 for adults, but only $15 for military members and students. Is this the best thing you've done this week?
This week, yeah. I did a cat cafe, and I like cats, but this beats it.
Yeah, but cats have manners. I've got 3 treats here. Watch what happened when I politely offered the pugs sausages and fruit. In no particular order, we're starting with the go! Okay. If you think you're in charge around here. All right. Wow. I can't control this. You're barking up the wrong tree. I think we're done here. In the Zevely Zone. You little rascals. You little rascals. Jeff Zevely, CBS 8.
Too cute. He gets the best assignments. All right, still ahead, we'll explain how some plants are adjusting to environmental stressors like drought and global warming. That's next in an Earth 8 report. Well, plants are essential to maintaining a healthy balance in our world's ecosystems. But environmental stressors like drought and global warming pose real danger to plant development. So Chief Meteorologist Carlene Chavis explains how some plants are adjusting to those stressors with just a flip of a switch. She also shows us the research happening here in San Diego that could benefit future crops in this Earth 8 report.
These beauties, they thrive off of photosynthesis, and new research has shown that an alternative form of it could actually be used to produce a more productive crop in the future, as well as make climate-resilient plants.
This rice plant, along with 95% of the plants in the world, use what is called C3. This is considered a more traditional form of photosynthesis. Unfortunately, this form is less efficient when it comes to drought conditions and heat. Rice plants thrive in cooler, more temperate environments. This makes them more vulnerable to depletion due to climate change. The other 5% of plants in the equation use C4 photosynthesis.
So while you can't see it visually, at the cellular and molecular level, things are very different. And what's great is that these plants look a little bit more robust than rice, and they can withstand higher temperatures, they can withstand higher heat, and they're more water use efficient, all because they photosynthesize in that special way.
Joseph Swift, a postdoctoral researcher with the Salk Institute, is showing us sorghum, a close relative to corn. Both are in the grass family. These plants utilize C4 photosynthesis. Joseph, along with other researchers, including Salk professor Joseph Ecker, use single-cell genomics technology to explore the molecular mechanisms in plants using C3 and C4.
The difference between C3 and C4 plants like rice and maize is not different genes. So they haven't evolved different genes. What's happened in the study that we recently published shows that the regulation of the genes is now different.
A particular protein involved in regulating C4 photosynthesis genes turns on an extra group of leaf cells. This allows plants using C4 to produce more energy and adapt to stressors like higher temperatures, drought conditions, and increased CO2 in the atmosphere.
So it's not a switch of genes, it's a switch of the regulation of the genes.
The research is in collaboration with Salk's Harnessing Plants Initiative and the Global C4 Rice Project to produce similar molecular changes in C3 plants. This includes researching rice, wheat, and soybeans to make more productive crops that are also resilient to climate change.
If we can encourage them to photosynthesize in a more efficient way, then that will help them keep producing the food that we need.
Rice crops that utilize C4 photosynthesis would increase crop production by 30 to 50%. The climate resilience would allow these crops to grow in regions unsuitable for C3 rice growth. This would aid in reducing food insecurity globally.
The plant yield increase would be an immediate impact on increasing the world food supply, because rice is one of the major staples in the world. And so increasing both the yield and the area of which it grows in are important, because the climate is changing and the temperature is increasing, and that would allow rice to grow in much more arid environments.
Now that's some food for thought. For CBS 8, I'm Chief Meteorologist Carlene Chavis.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It is interesting. Carlene, thank you. Well, that will do it for us. Thank you for your time. Thank you for staying informed. For CBS 8, I'm Jenny Day. Take such good care.